We're back. I started with the previous podcast to kind of a few minutes ago. It's the podcast. Brian Kilmeade is a hack. I look, Brian. If you ever see this, you're an example of the terrible journalism that's going on in this world for the last 10 to 15 years. It's just bad stuff, you know what I mean? And so let's get back to it. And this is continuations from the previous podcast. It's only 25 minutes. Go look at the previous podcast and you can come and look at this one. Otherwise, I'm going to try to kind of clue you guys in to what they're talking about here. So let's go back to the beginning of their conversation. Let's do that. I'll be fair and do that. Okay?
Essentially was everything that Trump got, only he didn't have to kill people to do it. He said, you can't bully your way through a foreign policy. Mark Thiessen joins us now, former speechwriter of Bush.
They're talking about a comment that President Obama, let me see if I can find it. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's just like, let me see if I can bring it up. Kind of show you guys what they're talking about. What's this? Obama comment on Iran deal.
The G7 summit after reaching a deal with Iran. So right now, President Trump is on his way to the G7 summit after reaching a deal with Iran. So right now, President Trump is on his way to the...
Yeah, this is it. Let me let you guys see this one.
So right now, President Trump is on his way to the G7 summit after reaching a deal with Iran. Trump reportedly telling the New York Times the deal will still allow Iran to continue enriching uranium for non-military purposes. Former President Obama casting doubt on how it's different from his own deal.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place and had worked for a long stretch of time before the United States pulled out of it.
Let's bring in Fox.
It's just heartbreaking, man. Heartbreaking. See, you guys don't understand that you're not Obama, and you're never gonna have the life of Obama. Obama's gonna die with $500 million in the bank. You won't be able to compete. He don't need your sympathy. He don't need your pity. He don't need none of that. Okay? You're a shell of what President Obama is. You get what I'm saying? You'll never live his life. You'll never have his accomplishments. You'll never be purposeful in the historian value as Obama. So he doesn't need your pity when two titans like President Obama versus Donald Trump versus President Obama, like President Donald Trump versus President Obama versus Donald Trump. That world is like, I'm talking 99% of the world. Yes, there's 1% of the world that actually live a life and accomplishments and great glory as President Obama and President Trump. Okay? It's 1% that may actually, the life that they live is maybe, I'm talking about the whole world, the whole 8.5 billion people. It's 1% that actually, whatever they're doing in their life is just as good as if they were the president. You know what I'm saying? It's just as good as if they were a real estate mogul as big as Trump was. You get what I'm saying? So technically, but 99% of the world are just haters and pontificators and just observers of the movements and the accomplishments and just the flow of what President Obama and President Trump are going through in their life. So I say that because I'm always hard on President Obama and stuff, and my family think I'm like some strange like Uncle Tom that they just don't understand what's wrong with me. What's wrong with him? And it's like, I went to President Obama's inauguration. I was out there in like 4-degree weather. It was like brutal from 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, all the way to like, I think it was 8, 9 o'clock at night on his inauguration day. I was out there. I went there. I knew the value of it. Now, what he was doing during his presidency don't make it less historical value for me, but at the same time, I call balls and strikes. I don't care who it is. And ain't no way in hell understanding how much black people were on the cuff of actually like getting into mindset. I'm telling you, the worst thing you could do to people is not tell them how important mindset is. And I feel like President Obama could have gave a great mindset to black Americans. It's only 13%, 14% of us. He could have gave a great mindset to black people, but he was so captivated and he was so focused on using their ignorance against them. He fell in love with it. President Obama fell in love with using black people's ignorance against them. So he put so much political capital into what could I do with the dumb black people's vote, the dumb black people's perception of what they're doing. He went so into the abyss with that. That's why you don't see him. That's why you see the Hispanic culture and the Hispanic power is awesome and magnificent in this country. That's why you see Arabic power in Arabic persuasion so powerful and so significant in our country now. That's why you see that. It's because that's what, and then the gay LGBTQIA plus community, it was President Obama felt that's where his attention needed to be. That's what was valuable to society, was for that, was for the upward mobility of the Hispanics, the upward mobility of the Mideast culture and immigrants and stuff like that, the upward mobility of the LGBTQIA plus community. That's what President Obama felt was vital for his presidency. Not what's been going on with black people for the last 40, 50 years. What that was. You can't rewrite it. You can't change it. It is what it is. Okay? So, when he makes these comments about, like, the actual, the Iran war and stuff, that is sound bites. It's sound bites. It's not what it is. It's just sound bites. Are you smart enough to know when he's lying and he's telling the truth? Are you? Most people not. Most people not. You're not. So let's go back to this conversation, and I'll break it down to you.
Fox News contributors, Washington Post columnist and AEI fellow. Mark, right away, the president, I know he's got to sell his library and talk about it. It only took, 8 years to build, where President Trump is going to build his in 9 weeks. So he says this is the same thing as the JCPOA. I don't even know how he can make comparison to something that's not done yet, but your reaction.
Y'all make a comparison to something that's not done yet. See, this is what I want to start off with. This is my problem, and I'm telling you, Brian Kilmeade is just a poster child for what I think is going on with Republicans in the media. These are horrible people. They destroying our country. Not the Democrats, not the wild radical left of the Democrat Party or the Socialist Party that's growing. They are who they are and who they always been, and they always showed that's who they were. Okay, you cannot blame them for them being who they always was. You can't. Republicans, they act like they're for the country, they're for individuality, they're for individual rights of the Constitution. That's what they act like they are. But if you see how they move and what they do and what they actually have a stamp on and what they actually put into motion, you'll find out they worse than the Democrats. They love talking and having a persona for the position they have, but not actually executing on what the task is. Now, Donald Trump's a problem. He's a problem. And a lot of people, I could try to explain this to y'all from 1970 to now. Donald Trump's biggest issue is he don't just talk. He talk about the stuff he's doing. He's talking about the stuff he's doing. He's not going to keep having a presidency where every single morning somebody come and tells him a briefing about Iran, and he's like, man, dude, y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that. When President Trump's first administration, go look this up, y'all. He was like always talking about Iran. No, me and Iran, we gonna make a deal. I can make a deal with Iran. We gonna make a deal. We gonna make a deal. They gonna forget about this nuclear bomb stuff, and they gonna have a great life and great economy, and they gonna just have a great system going on. And they moved in that towards that direction. Even with the radicals, they was moving towards his direction. But they start to see all the impeachments, all the actual propaganda, all the destructive that, like, even his own Department of Justice was like investigating him. He got no power. He got no legitimacy. That's how they seen it. Then they followed him through the 2020, and then they followed him to the 2024, and they was like, oh my God, this guy's wild. So when he came in the 25th, what they kind of know, and all our political, like you got senators and congressmen and all these people and Democrats telling Iran, no, we're not gonna let him do nothing to y'all. We're not gonna let him do nothing to y'all. He don't have the right to do that. He just all talk and no action. And nothing that Trump has done is him being all talk and no action. Everybody criticized Trump. Oh, he had that Trump University and it was a scam. Whatever. It was the same thing that you get Carl Cardone doing. You get what I'm saying? All the stuff that Ramsey doing. Dave Ramsey doing all these podcasters with the Andrew Tates and all them stuff. That's all it is a people that like the aura and the vibe and the culture of Trump deciding they want that mindset, so they taking classes to get into that mindset. But if you don't put that mindset into action when you leave the training, that's your fault. He was in the midst of presidency. Yeah, he settled. He's okay. Look, give them their money back if they want their money back. But I want to set the record straight. They didn't deserve their money back. You get what I'm saying? And then after that, everybody got into the culture seminar business. It's ridiculous. Look, I ain't got time to keep going through the 1970, 1980s, 1990s, 2000, 2016, 2020, 2024. I not right now. It's kind of hard for me to talk to you guys about all this. But when Republicans and Brian Kilmeade's criticizing Democrats. You don't have to mention the Democrats when you guys can't even check yourself. How sabotaging, how treasonous y'all being to your own movement, your own task, your own actual objectives, because he can't be that. We gotta tell Trump what to do. He ain't that smart. How you? He's the president 3 fucking times. 3 times. If you thought he was a fluke, or he got 65 votes in the first time, then the second time he gets 75. If you believe that was right, with Biden getting 81% of the vote, which was ridiculous. But if you think that Trump's 75 was wrong, then he can't get it when he runs for 2024, and he got 77, 78 million votes, meaning that most likely his votes from 2020 might have been close to accurate. So I'm telling you, I'm saying this because I don't want to talk about what the Democrats say about Trump when you got the shadiness of what the Republicans, well, conservatives. What are y'all conserving? What are y'all conserving? Christianity? The Pope don't care about Christianity. He made a mockery out of Christianity. Both of them. The previous Pope and the hacky Pope that's out here right now. The hacks. And they don't care about Christianity. I do not like hearing people talk about Christianity because they don't believe in it. They don't believe in it. Nobody want to live no Christian life. That's clear. People want their clothes, they want their gear, they want nice cars, they want a nice home, they want to be able to provide for their families, they want to do all that top of the food chain. You can't be like a lot of these people and be Christian. You gotta be an ego, materialistic, goal-orientated, focused person and a savage to be a winner in the society we've been in for the last 20 years. Last 20 years is about savagery. Savage business. Manipulating the weaker ones. Now, we all find this out like the hard way or the easy way. Most people find it out the hard way. We all do. But the truth of the matter is, Christianity.
Well, first of all, it's not like the
Christianity is not what all these fake ass claimers, Christian claimers, are doing. They not. They don't believe in it. They don't hold it as no. They go repent on their knees at home. Thank you, God, for this. When I was out there being a savage and I was being goal oriented and I was being a barbarian, because most of the things, accomplishments people have are for things they're actually doing on a day-to-day basis consistently. That's what the accomplishments are. That's what you see the outcome is. You get what I'm saying? Then people become humorous about themselves. Oh, I'm going to get on my knees and pray to God for my success and blah, 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 blah. But really, you kind of just accomplished earth. Earth is a domain of the devil. Any any higher, like, how can I say, any higher accomplishments on earth that are physical, like money, nice house, nice cars, nice clothing, nice economic standing in the country, in the world, is a earthly thing. I'm not telling y'all not to do it. I'm just saying, when people tout Christianity, you can't, come on, y'all. Come on. You are so out. You know your actual everyday, the way your mindset is, the way you do things, the way your acumen is in business and how you actually moving is so of this world. So stop. Tell the people the truth. If you want to be accomplished, you must be a savage in business, in decision making, in mindset on earth. And you gotta understand the how can I say, you almost have to give in to the desires of the devil in order to be achieved. I'm telling you, look, we can talk about this later on another episode. I'll walk you through all your heroes, all the people you think about. They have levels of this stuff. Even the Christian big churches and the big organizations and the big firms and all that stuff, they got essence of the devil's world in them and the devil's movements in them, earthly bound like mindset in them. It's just the way it is. Most people won't adapt this. They won't like come to terms with it. So they just become normal. They just stay standard. That's why 99% of 8.4 billion people are just basic. 1% is over it. I tell people our poverty in America is richer than and more successful than the majority of the world. Do you understand that? Our minimum wage, our restaurant workers making $15 an hour, $17 an hour, working at McDonald's, working at Chick-fil-A, working at like nursing and all the other stuff. They're making more money than majority of all the workers in the world in America. That's the facts. So you gotta understand. It's a lot of propaganda. It's a lot of misdirection. It's a lot of lies that's been communicated to you in conversation. And I gotta come in because I'm like, God, man, it's nothing out there. I gotta keep watching Fox News because I cannot watch no MS9. I can't do it. It's so much lies, so much like misdirection, it's so much propaganda, it's so much manipulation that if you got any kind of comprehension skills, you cannot sit there and watch that for hours. You're not questioning none of this shit. And it's the same for me. The crazy part about it is become the same way for me. Like, I always talk about people dying hacks. Like, they got this whole history of doing things and being a good voice, but when they die a hack. You get what I'm saying? So it's like people like Charles Krauthammer, look him up, died a hack. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just General Keane. I gotta do some stuff. He ain't dead yet, but when he die, he's gonna die a hack. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Like, they just give up their actual principles and they like their credibility just because I don't like this man being president and I'm not president. I just hate him being president, and I just gotta scream to the top of my lungs. I just gotta lash out and just say random shit that could be proven untrue. Cause I hate this guy. I gotta help put negative out there. Hopefully, it destroys him. It's ridiculous. Y'all, wow. The reason why I labeled this Brian Kilmeade as a hack, we need to see it. Here it go.
CPOA in this, in one particular sense, 13,500 missile strikes that took out, that buried the Iranian nuclear program in dust so thick that they can't get to it without our help. They decimated their ballistic missile program.
He's talking about all the different things that Donald Trump approved that he actually done. You get what I'm saying? And I'm going to set this up before I throw the poison pill in that's really going to hurt him and really hurt him in the news coverage. Trump was like, look, man, can y'all wait until I come back from the G7 before y'all start giving, like, your opinion about what's in the deal before you see the deal? Like, can I get there? I'm gonna do a press conference. I'm gonna read the whole document to you. So that way we don't get lost in translation what's in the deal. Y'all could Q&A me and everything, but don't mess up that I got these idiots to give up their nuclear program and submit. Don't give up. Don't give up that power and that narrative. Why I'm over here talking about different stuff in the actual G7, but Republicans, conservatives, Democrats, liberals, socialists, socialists, all the news organizations, Fox News, CNN, MS Now, CBS, ABC, podcasters, PBD, Candace Owens, Steve Bannon War Room, Tucker Carlson, everybody talking about he's lost. He lost. He did a bad deal because he's under the pressure of the economy. He weakened. He buckled. Like, wow, I'm telling y'all, this is his comment. I will hold a press comment. He said it. I will hold a press conference. I will read all the documents, what's in the document, and you could give me Q&A and we'll talk about it there. But what he's been hearing, every single time he turns on TV or he's looking at what the press reports are, it's like, you lost, you weak, you gave in, you buckled. You about to give them $300 billion. You about to make them powerful. You about to take the incentive for them to actually do what you have in the document away. And it's like, damn, can y'all read the document first? Not what people say that's in the document. Not rumors, not leaks of what's in the document. What's in the document? It's crazy.
Destroyed 84% of their in defense industrial base, sank their entire Navy, grounded their entire Air Force, and has left them with what Admiral Brad Cooper called a nuisance capability, but no power, no capability to project force into the Middle East. So that's,
hit that like, subscribe. Y'all know what to do. Do some Cash Apps or PayPal or whatever the hell is on there. There's all the links in the bottom. Because look, these people, I got to be on here every single day, 4 times a day, doing 250 hours of content to give you an actual real response to what's going on in our coverage and our news and what's going on in our society. News, politics, social dynamics, relationships, all that stuff. In order for me to give you guys what I have planned, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take some hell of a support. So like, subscribe, kind of show some love if you guys can. Give $1, give $2, whatever. Put it in the chats. Whatever. If you don't put it in the chats, I got links at the bottom. Come on, hello. Let's go.
That's where they are right now. So they were down, but they're not out. And so, it's certainly better than the JCPOA because Iran, it didn't take away anything from them. There was no, their nuclear program was intact. It was just frozen. So it's a whole different ball of wax. Now, that said, that doesn't mean it's a good deal. And we have.
How you know it's not a good deal? You haven't seen it. All y'all saying is y'all hearing reports from Iran what's in the deal. Ask CO said, this is what's in the deal from the reportings that we're getting from. Nobody got the document.
Haven't seen it yet. We're seeing the
Otherwise,
reports from
y'all would be
the
showing
Iranian
it.
side of what the deal contains, and we're not seeing the reports from the U.S. side, which makes me wonder why, because if the Iranian side is wrong, I'd like to know.
Because they want to communicate about it right. They have a deadline that they have where they can communicate with it on Friday. That's to make sure everything is signed, everything is clear, and all that stuff like that, and all the finalization of it is done. And then they're going to show it to you. Why the fuck would Trump... Like, everybody, he don't give a shit what Brian Kilmeade's position is on what the Iran deal is, or a piece of shit person like this Mark Deason is, or Mark Levin, or Candace Owens, or Tucker Carlson, or no, why would he belittle himself to give a shit what y'all feel about the deal? He's going to get the deal that he feels like he's making the decision. I'm making the negotiation of it. I'm saying, good enough, let's sign. And then he'll live on that. And you could criticize the end result. Congress can bitch and moan about it. I love he had that whack ass Senator Thune come on like, the president, he has to kind of show us the deal. We don't have to take a vote and show consent on it. But at least he got to show us the deal. Then that means he can sign it, he can agree to it, and then y'all can bitch and moan about it. Nobody got to show y'all nothing. Y'all on the outside. I did not vote for Trump, and I'm pretty sure if they're in the right mind, most voters for Trump, you didn't vote for Trump to take advice and then the people that's giving him advice, he do what they tell them to do. No, they give him advice. He computes it to the data and all the information that he sees in front of him. He kind of sees the pros and cons and implementing something that is advised to him or not advised to him. And then what's going on in his best judgment of what to do, he makes that decision. I do not want him to make the decision Tucker Carlson want him to make. Tucker Carlson say, hey, I hate Jews. I have a discomfort with Jews. I have a separation with Jews. Candace Owens has an issue with Jewish people. And they're willing to destroy the power and the momentum and the progress that we can get with this presidency right now and use up all our political capital on hating Israel, on being opposition to the Jewish and Zionist thought process. We ain't got no time for that shit. If Israel get in the way of Trump making a deal, that's when they become a problem. Trump doing things that he feels he needs to do for solving problems that are been on the books for too long and they should have been solved, and he's solving it. You may not like how he's doing it. You may not agree with how he's doing it, but this is the way he's doing it. And this is what I voted for him to, I had confidence that he can make good decisions to what he does overall and what comes in front of him, and I'll take whatever the decision it is. I do not like the 13 soldiers getting killed. 7 of those soldiers got killed on a base in Kuwait because we couldn't anticipate, or maybe we could anticipate, but we just didn't think it was going to be that big. The reason why we going over there to fight in Iran, because they got a way of shooting a bunch of missiles, shooting a bunch of drones, and then letting them run into bases and buildings and destroy things. And we're thinking that we got a good air defense system so well, but the first time it got tested by Iran, when this war started, we couldn't really capture all of the missiles, all of the drones. And they got in, and it hit one of our military bases, killing 7 military people. Another 5 6 people got killed because they were doing a gas. They were kind of not gas, but they were doing a fuel replenishing in the mid-air, meaning that it was a plane that has fuel in it, and one of our jets came under it to fuel up, and whatever the turbulence was or whatever happened in the actual operation of that, it turned the planes, and they end up kind of falling, and 6 people died in that. So actually, we lost 13 people out of combat. They were not in combat. They were out of combat, and they got killed because the circumstances of the European government and the different Middle East countries didn't want to let us use their airfields and all that other stuff. So it handicapped our military to make maneuvers and kind of do re-attacks and stuff like that. So we had to do it to the technology that we had, and that's in mid-air refueling. But something happened where that didn't work out so well. So we lost 13 soldiers, and yes, that's tragic. It is very tragic and not necessary, because I don't think one life in Iran or Israel worth one American soldier. They too valuable. So I don't like it, let alone 13 military soldiers are dead now because of the conflict we have with Iran and Israel and their beef that they have with each other. So I say that to make sure that I put this on the record. Yes, I don't like that he was solving a 47-year problem, but I'm not gonna completely desert what he's trying to do. He's trying to be purposeful. And yes, it was an issue that came across a test on the president's desk on a day-to-day basis, what moves Iran was making, and they seen something that they had to say, okay, we can't let that fester for another 6 months. And that's why we went into the Iran war. But then, if you want to know, was it an actually accurate reason to start the war? How those missiles and how those drones hit our actual our bases, our military bases, let you know. See, that's how they fight. They're making so many drones, so many missiles, so they can bombard the air defense systems that's in Israel, that's in Saudi Arabia, that's in Kuwait, that's in Bahrain. The whole point was to overwhelm those systems. You get what I'm saying? So look, I know I'm blinking out a little bit here. Sorry.
Oh, because what the Iranians are putting out is pretty bad.
I mean, what they're putting out is there's still a toll. There's still a toll with the Strait, right?
I don't care what Iran is putting out. Y'all job is not to have Iran propaganda. Your job is to say, hey, this is what they putting out, but we don't know if that's fact. We don't know that fact. Oh, it's still a toll. That's terrible.
Well, there's still a toll. Again, this is just the Iranian says that we don't know that this is true. There's $24 billion in frozen assets. They get half of it up front. According to that, there's and another half after the nuclear deal is negotiated. There's a report of a $300 billion fund to rebuild the reconstruction of Iran. There's lots of things that the Iranians are claiming as victories that the U.S. hasn't said is not true, but hasn't put out their version of it.
They have said it's true. They've been saying it since y'all been saying it's not true. Trump said it's not true. Jesus.
I guess we're going to see it on Thursday because they're going to sign it, so we have to see what they're signing. But if that stuff is in there, it's pretty bad. I mean, think about this. You know, it would be like if we give $300 billion fund to rebuild Iran, that's like the Marshall Plan while the Nazis were still in power.
How about this? How about the fact that
Germany
Scott
until
Bessent,
after they? Sorry?
Scott Bessent said that they are going to pay from their frozen money for all the Arabs for the Gulf state damage. So there's no way Trump would sign off on that.
Yeah, and then the other thing that you quoted me you showed me on Fox and Friends this morning, or actually Lawrence did, because I got the good host. But Lawrence showed a quote saying something about that, like they're going to have some civilian enrichment.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true, because that was a red line for Trump. He was saying even before the Operation Epic Fury started, he was like, when he was negotiating, said no civilian enrichment. If we were letting them have civilian enrichment, that's really bad. So there's a lot of bad stuff. I mean, look, there's even if it's a perfect deal, there's a problem, which is that they expected money in return. And so what you're doing is you're giving a lifeline to the Iranian regime, no matter what. Even if
look, y'all, they're not gonna get that money unless they actually do what they're supposed to be doing. Okay. Look, and I don't understand. Everybody always talks about what they don't like about what Trump is doing in Iran. What is your choice? What is your choice? Just let them run amok? Just let them run amok? No, y'all did that, and this is what they did. All the killing of military soldiers, all the wild stuff that they do. Like they doing insurgent stuff in other people's country, like y'all letting them run amok, and nobody putting them in their place. So like what they want is they want Trump to destroy and kill a lot of people, and most of all they want Trump to put our soldiers like on the ground. Craziness.
The deal was good, right? You're letting them, you knock them down, and Trump just had a UFC fight. Imagine if you knocked somebody out and then helped him up, before the bell rang, so that you get to continue fighting. It's like that's what giving them any money is doing. So even a great deal is problematic, right? But there's a lot of.
Yeah, this is not like, hold on, let me try to go to Fox News, because I do want to show y'all like what really pissed me off, and it was really this morning too. So give me a second, let me look at this. Let me go back to Fox News, see if they got any kind of let me see this. This is probably from this morning.
Haley Stevens, Chief of Staff for President.
Sorry about the commercials. Stuff is ridiculous.
Top of the hour. It is 7:02 here on the East Coast. The president is now meeting with the president of Egypt at the G7 senior White House at the G7 summit. Our senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy joins us now from France. Good morning to you, Peter.
Good morning, and within the next couple hours, President Trump is going to have a chance to make his case to the American people why he thinks this is a good deal and why they are doing it now. A few minutes ago in this meeting, he was talking about how if they didn't make a deal right now, there would be a global depression, which speaks to the economic pressure President Trump and his...
He did not say that. He did not say that. He like, that's bad reporting. Jesus. Now I gotta go show you guys the actual comment that Trump said while he was in the G7. Jesus. Let me see.
In Iran, the war with Iran, and President Trump's still secret proposal.
He just got through talking to them just this morning.
I don't know if you can do better. But I just want to say that the relationship has been outstanding. He's a man of great respect. Everybody respects him, and they respect your country. And it's an honor to be with you. And we just signed a deal with Iran, and this country was very, very...
Yeah, let me let you see this, and then I'm gonna go.
A very powerful ally, and good things are happening. The ships are starting to move now. We're going to have it fully open by Friday. The ships are starting to move nicely. Oil is starting to go, and the prices are coming down rapidly. Stock market is going up rapidly. A lot of good things are happening. And most importantly, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. That was how I got involved in this. We can't let that happen. So they will not have a nuclear weapon. And other than that, I'd like to ask His Highness to say a few words. And if you want, we can take a couple of questions, please.
Well, it's really my pleasure, Mr. President, to be with you here. And I want to say that we are so grateful to have you here and as a President of the United States. And thank you for your support, your commitment to your friend, to your allies. And special thank for your support during the six-week war. Mm-hmm. It means a lot to us. And you show us who's the real ally. And without your support, your commitment, Mr. President, not my country only, but the Middle East will be in a different part of the world, a different situation today. So really my pleasure to see you today, Mr. President, and thank you for giving us the time. And there is a lot of things we can talk about for going forward between our two countries, how we can make our relationship even better.
We love it. Thank you, my friend. See, when you're that rich, you can speak that lowly. I was just wondering, can anybody hear that? But when you're so rich, you have such confidence, and you don't have to do any strain to the voice. He's great. So, do you have any questions for us?
What should we expect from the second stage of the negotiations from this memorandum?
I don't know. It's a 60-day period or so. I think it's going to happen fairly on time. We've been both involved. I think they're going to want to get it done. Iran wants to get it done. They have to get back to business. And the relationship is now normalized. So I think it's going to go pretty quickly, Steve. Could go faster. Could take longer, too, but it could go faster.
There's so much interest in the text of the document. Why not release the topic?
Oh, I will.
Why not release it?
Well, because I'd like to get a formal setting first before we do that. But I have no problem with that. It's a good document. Here's what it says. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's what it says. It won't have one to buy, to develop.
That's a dumb cameraman.
It will not have a nuclear weapon.
Well, why would you try to show the press talking?
99.9% of what I wanted. Because we could.
Obviously, you don't got a setup there for you to capture accurately the press asking a question and the president and even the Saudi king like giving, or whoever the gentleman is, giving their response. So you stay on them. Who gives a shit about the person that's asking the question? He's a journalist. We don't need to look at him. You look at the actual subject. The subject is the president and who he's talking with. This is what I'm talking about. Stupid. Just complete idiots.
Let that happen. You couldn't let that happen. And they won't have a nuclear weapon. Now, in addition to that, the Strait is going to be open toll-free. And it's toll-free beyond the 60 days. It's not, somebody said, oh, it's toll-free for... No. It's toll-free, period. When it opens permanently, it'll be toll-free.
And remember when they was talking, Brian Kilmeade and his piece of shit, like, person that he had on the news on his podcast was saying, Iran said it's a toll. It's a toll. He's saying it's toll-free. That means if they do anything to go against what's like communicated and what the deal is, like making people pay a toll to pass through the actual Strait of Hormuz, you got a problem.
I want to congratulate our Navy because...
So they talking about it, like after he said, you guys gotta understand, Brian Kilmeade's show is after he had this conversation. All the stuff that they're talking about today is after he had this conversation. This is a lot of information to what's in the deal. You hear it from his mouth.
The naval blockade was unbelievable. But I'll not only release it, I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word so that the press covers it accurately.
After he says that, we spent today, this was yesterday, so we spent all today, all our press, not reporting it accurately, not reading from the document. That's why he said, nope, I'm gonna have a press conference and I'm gonna read it. So y'all have to cover it accurately. And what we do, go against that. Why do you think Fox News reporting it opposite of what he's saying right now? Because they want to have influence on what's in it, or if he do a deal or not. They want to have influence in that. They want to be a decider instead of him being the decider. It's ridiculous.
Word by word, so that the press covers it accurately. Because it's a very important document, and unlike Obama, who could have destroyed the Middle East with a horrible JCPOA, it is the worst agreement. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. Mine is a wall against a nuclear weapon. I mean, I see these people say, but we already had one. That was the worst. He paid a fortune for it. We paid nothing. We don't pay. There was some statement, we're going to spend $300 billion. No. We're not. We're allowed to go and invest if we wanted to someday in the future. We have no obligation whatsoever. It could be that Iran will turn out to be successful when they have oil. But if we left a week ago, just left, before the last two attacks, it would have taken them 20 years to rebuild Iran. So, but I'll go over the document with the media in a couple of days.
Mr. President, a few weeks back you said you'd like to see other nations join the Abraham Accords, much like the U.S.
So that's what I wanted. So the reason why I want you guys to see that, because I want, before you listen to these idiots talk today, I want you to understand that it's not like they don't have information. It's not like they didn't ask him what's in the deal and what is he going for in the deal. And what do he confirm that's in the deal? And so when they talk like this, it's totally disrespectful. And I'm telling you, in unison, they do it. They got no conscience of like that they're lying, or they kind of don't know if they're telling the truth or not. They kind of really, they say, hey, look, my producers, Fox News producers, and some of the people that we got trust in, like General piece of shit Keane. Let me show you this fucking moron. I'm sorry for my language early in the morning like this, but he's a moron. General Keane. This guy. Can't wait for him to die off. For real. This fucking moron.
Welcome back. A potential sticking point threatening to derail a U.S. deal with Iran. It involves Israel's military presence in Lebanon. Iran is signaling there is no final agreement without Israeli withdrawal. Iranian foreign minister saying until then, the war has not fully ended. Israel rejecting that demand outright, insisting its forces will stay as long as the threat from Hezbollah remains. For more on this, we are joined by retired four-star General Jack Keane. He's the chairman at the Institute for War.
Four-star General. Let's look at this fucking idiot's credentials. Look, I'm not no soldier. I didn't go to serve. I love our soldiers. They are better human beings than majority of all of us, because they put their life on the line. But the soldiers that become like pundits and politicians, pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. Okay, so let's look at Jack Keane, General Keane, like his credentials. It's crazy. General Keane. I was trying to make sure I had a right hack. 83 years old, need to shut the fuck up and go watch some cowboy movies or something. on TNT or some shit. I don't know. General Keane, let's look at his credentials, because he's a fucking hack and probably was a hack in his service and made bad decisions. This Institute for Study of War is a problem, dude. They give clout and validity to this organization, and they pieces of shit of the system. They dumb. Okay, Jack King. Let's look at his army career, and let's not look at him as a soldier, where he was a great man. I'm pretty sure, a warrior, a true patriot, and all the other stuff. Let's look at his political hackiness. Okay, when he became a political hack, he was nominated and for a promotion to general and assigned as the vice chief of staff of the army. Okay, so that was in '99. Okay, that's pretty much Bush stuff. Okay, King was at the Pentagon during 9/11, so he fucked up then, because obviously he had major clout. Vice chief of staff of the army. Okay, looking at intelligence and all the other stuff, and he got in the Pentagon. He was actually part of our intelligentsia and decision making on 9/11. Fuck that up. Complete moron. Okay. So don't give him no credit for that. And he was making major decisions in the Iraq and Afghanistan war. Don't give him no credit for that. He's a fucking moron. He was the first senior military officer to visit the troops on the grounds of the Middle East. He also made frequent media appearances and speeches and maintain an army relationship with Congress. Okay, so that's what he was doing through all the time. He was under consideration for chief of staff of the army in 2023. Okay, so let's say literally. So like now, if I'm not mistaken, he and they said 2000 Keane meeting with an army colonel. In 2010, which he could kind of get in there. Still, obviously, he got they call that intelligence clearance. So he's still looking at enough of our data. After his retirement, he has served as an informal advisor to presidents. So presidents and other senior officers. See, I'm sorry for my terrible reading, but I'm so pissed about this hack. Because I'm telling y'all, I need y'all to understand, I'm trying to do a quick summary and a quick run through of this General Keane. This guy's been in all. He's giving calls to President Obama, to Clinton, to Bush, to Obama, to Trump, to Biden. He's able to communicate with these people to say what his opinion is and all this stuff, to the generals and all other stuff. He should have been kicked the fuck out and theorize what's going on, not know what's going on. But I want you guys to, this is important. After his retirement, obviously he was in the military, he was in the actual Pentagon, he was in some way of level of actual prominence in the military, in the Pentagons and our military advisory and all that stuff, all the way up to August 3rd. Okay, I mean August 2003. Between the retirement of Eric's, whoever that is, and Shoemaker before he retired on 16. So he retired on October 2003. So obviously he's a hack making decisions and led up to what was going on with the surges of the Taliban and all that stuff. And God knows, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Because I'm looking at stuff like Keane was later promoted to colonel on June 28th, 1984. You know what was going on at that time? We fully gave arms to Saddam Hussein. Not Saddam Hussein, to the Taliban against Russia. That's what we were doing in the 80s. Fully arming them. You get what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. According to Keane, Petraeus was shot accidentally standing next to me. I don't know what that is. I guess David Petraeus was shot by accident by Keane. They was in the military together in 1991. See what I'm saying? Wild stuff. Okay, let me go back to his retirement, okay? Because this is what I need y'all to understand, okay? So, after his retirement, he has served as an informal advisor to presidents and other senior officials. He served as an advisor role in the management of U.S. occupation of Iraq. Advisory role, okay? He was given a lot of credentials, and like what he said was actually considered in the management of the U.S. occupation of Iraq. He fucked up, meaning strike one. Okay? I'm only gonna I ain't gonna go to the 80s and look at his credentials there. I ain't gonna go to 9/11 up to 2003 when he retired. I'm gonna give him strikes when we know it. Okay? Strike one. You are in a high advisory role in the management of the U.S. occupation of Iraq. Hack, and you got loss of credibility. Strike one. Okay? As a member of Defense Policy Board Advisory Committee, look, I'm showing y'all that he got no fucking credibility no more. So stop giving it to him. Okay? In January 2007, Keane and the scholar Frederick W. Kagan, released a policy paper, Choosing Victory, a plan for success in Iraq. Look, I'm reading it. And look, I know this is Wikipedia, but it's accurate. It's accurate. I read enough to know that this is accurate. Okay? And look it up yourself. Through the American Enterprise Institute that called for bringing security by putting 3,000 additional American troops there for at least 18 months, in part convinced by this paper. President George W. Bush ordered on January 10th, 2007, the deployment of 21,500 additional soldiers in Iraq. Dog, do you understand? Look at that. Look at that, dude. Him and his Hackey Institute, they advised the president. And they said, look, he advised them. 3,000 soldiers more, we can win this war. So more soldiers got killed, put in harm's way, and got killed. Thousands got killed. Okay? The deployment of 21,500 additional troops to Iraq, most of whom will be deployed to Baghdad. The deployment has been nicknamed the 2007 surge. And that surge was brutal. Brutal. Hack. Strike one. I'm telling y'all. I'm not giving you strikes to this idiot for nothing. Giving it to him for a reason. Okay? Keane advised Bush, Vice President Dick Cheney, and General Petraeus on the surge. Keane was asked by Vice President Cheney to go back on active duty and to lead the surge in the field. When Keane declined, you see that? He want his hands all on the dirty brutality and danger of the situation. Cheney pressed him to come work in the White House and oversee both the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Keane again declined. He want to say a lot of shit. He want to come on the news and pontificate. He want to give advisory. He want to come into the Pentagon. He want to come into the White House and give his advice, give his opinion on stuff. But he don't want his hands signed to it. Piece of shit. But he's responsible for that. Look, this is the vice president and the president that's in general portrays the actual people that's giving the command to the soldiers. Taking his advice, giving the commands to the soldiers, they getting killed in Iraq. This is post 2007. They get killed in Iraq and they get killed in Afghanistan to the recommendation of a piece of shit General Keane. Okay? Yeah, I've been trying to do this episode forever, okay? I know I'm wilding out. I apologize, y'all, but I'm so pissed and I hate this motherfucker. I really do. Hate is a strong word. I highly dislike him, okay? Okay. So Keane again declined. Keane ended up briefly working at the White House and then later traveling to Iraq several times to advise General Petraeus. His hands is in the shit, in the murders, in the destruction, and the ridiculous deaths from soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he's responsible. His hands was all in it. Trust me, they've been advising from day one. Since the Iraq war started all the way to the end, he's been a person that gave advice to him. So when you see the fucking Fox News paying him an arm and a leg to talk shit, Trump, you better know this idiot that's calling you. He's not to be trusted. He's not to be given advice. You gotta have the gumption to say, shut the fuck up. I don't care what your credentials are. I don't care if I'm just a piece of shit, like regular citizen that never went to war. I ain't got the credentials of war. That's what the great thing about America. We are civil, like citizens are the people that tell the military what to do. Trump, as an actual citizen that got elected, has more power to tell the troops what to do than a general that's been in a war, that's been a soldier and all other stuff. No, you take commands from the people, from people that haven't served. And they don't like that. A lot of fucking Pentagon people and military people, they don't like that. They really don't like that. So it's a passive aggressive anger about it. So they do shit like this to sabotage administrations, to be the political, armed forces that are manipulating and pulling strings and doing stuff with the CIA to take the decision making of military judgment and end results of how soldiers are supposed to move away from the president, away from Congress. They had that. Really, we're the ones who call in the shots, but nope. This time, you got to deal with a strong, bullheaded president, Donald J. Trump. He don't give a shit. But I bring that, look, you guys, you can hate Trump all you want. I'm not stopping you. I'm giving a rant. Hopefully this is in context. And when you guys kind of come back to it and look at it some years down the line, you'll see I was accurate. Okay? So he takes his ass several times to advise the actual general that's giving the missions to the soldiers. A piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? And Donald Trump gave him the Medal of Freedom, which he deserves it. He did a lot of service for the country and even been advised. And his credentials and his clout and what he's accomplished in just his military persona, he deserved to be got the Medal of Freedom. I'm not gonna stop that, but you gotta know who that is, who this guy is, what his credentials is. Keane is considered an influential voice to leaders from both major power, including Hillary Clinton. He advised Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. This is crazy. Stop listening to this fucking asshole, y'all. He's a fucking moron. He didn't tell you about those, like our military base in Kuwait was going to get hit and 7 military soldiers died. Did he tell you about that? Oh, man. I'm sorry. That was a chance. Dude, stop. Stop. Listen to this fucking moron. But look, I just wanted to show y'all that he got his hands on that shit. Okay? And he's talking to President Obama. I mean, not President Trump and his administration right now, and probably some of the generals and stuff. And they need to close the door on this bitch. They need to close the door on this bitch.
Excuse me, the Institute for the Study of War. He's also a Fox News senior strategic analyst. General, as always, great to see you.
Yeah, delighted to be here, Bill.
So, Vice President J.D. Vance has been going around different media tours recently talking about what is and isn't in this deal. He says part of the agreement is that nuclear inspectors will be able to go back into Iran and verify that they aren't restarting their program. Take a listen.
Will nuclear inspectors be allowed back in?
Yes, absolutely. That's in fact one of the core parts of the agreement is that the IAEA and the United States are going to help Iran destroy the highly enriched stockpile, and that's something that's spelled out very clearly in the MOU.
Is there a date? Has a date been set on when inspectors will be allowed into Iran?
That's stupid. That's stupid. Has a date been set? How's the date gonna be set and then we just got to signing it, you fucking idiot? So now we got to get the coalition together and then we got to set the date. That's not for y'all. So stupid. It's a trick question to show inconsistency or show some give and take. Things are not like mapped out. Why we just signed the deal that this is what's gonna happen. We got to organize a team to go in there to make sure that we got enough, like, U.S. people that's going to go in there with Europeans and Middle East actual nuclear scientists and certain people that's going to actually manage this situation. We got to set it up that we know who the coalition going in and the credibility and that Iran can attack these people and that we got a nice security system around them. Because we got to put Saudi Arabia people in there. We got to put Bahrain people in there. We got to put Bahrain people in there. We got to put people that are allies to Iran, but they actually want them to actually get rid of this nuclear stuff, and they agreed to it. Additionally, we're not only agreeing to this deal, but all the other Gulf countries are agreeing to these deals, and they say, hey, you agreed to this deal, you agreed to the procedure of getting rid of this nuclear and the uranium and all that other stuff. We gonna hook you up. We gonna make your cities beautiful. We gonna give you plenty of money. You just can't have this nuclear weaponry. We'll set you up. We'll give you a great country, but you can't have nuclear. Okay? So they got to set up a structure and then set up the team, set up to organize. You got to have okay, how are we going to go get this thing out? Okay, we're going to use these equipments to dig into the ground to get it and stuff. All that's got to be set, and then you set the date to when you're going to do it. It's like saying, okay, the FIFA World Tournament is coming to America, okay? Okay, everybody got a bidding for it. We get the bid to host the FIFA World Cup and all that stuff like that. Okay, now we got to organize, okay, what stadiums we're going to use for what games and specific things like that. That's how that is. So for him to ask that question, you think he's dumb? To ask a stupid question like that? No, this is part of propaganda. This is part of, I'm asking my enemy questions.
Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about on Friday.
General, you heard him say that they're going to help the IAEA and the U.S. destroy the enriched uranium. In your opinion, do you think it's realistic that Iran is ever going to let the U.S. get in there and either take that uranium out?
If they don't, we're going to blow up their oils. We're going to blow up their bridges. We're going to do that. That's what Trump was going to do last Friday, but he called it off. They know he about to tear everything up. He's about to starve our people. We can't even make money no more. That's what he was about to do. He didn't want to do it, so he's been fighting for months to not do it. But he was about to do it last Friday. He stopped himself because they said, no, look, we get you. We can't even stop you from blowing up these bridges and blowing up our oil fields and all the other stuff and completely deserting and putting us in a fight. Because people got to understand, when you blow up the oil fields and you blow up their bridges, that destroys any mobility of the people to even be able to feed themselves properly. They got to desert it. Do you understand that? So stupid.
Or destroy it, or is that wishful thinking?
Well, we don't know for sure. I mean, obviously that's our intent, and we got the right intent here. Listen, and we have got to be part of the inspection team.
It's stupid to say that. It's stupid to say that. It's dumb. Of course, we gonna have a validation. We gonna know what's going on. We gonna have our hands on it. He knows that.
Iran has so manipulated the IAEA through the years that I don't have a lot of faith in them, to be frank. And what it's got to be, it's got to be anywhere, anytime inspections. What the inspection protocol was about in the past is Iran defined where to inspect, when to inspect, and how long to inspect. And then when we had information...
Do you think Trump would take any deal like that they can't validate if we really are getting the nuclear stuff out? You know, let them decide what they're doing. And Trump said this millions of times. This is high intelligence stuff. He said, hey, we got 9 satellites, feeds and cameras on that. We know everybody that's coming into that area. We see we see heat signals. We see everything. We know everybody that's coming in contact with that mountain and the surrounding area. If anybody come in, trucks or whatever, cars, stuff, we blow them up. We shoot them down. We drone them. We do all, we got control of that area. That's what Trump actually said. That's high intelligence that we're not supposed to be giving out. He said Space Force we got them. We got satellites all over it. That's high intelligence, high national security, collecting data and letting you know what we're doing. He communicated to the public, and this fucking idiot, we gotta have people on there. Of course we gonna have some people with their hands on it that's working for us. But they want to make it seem like, what's the guarantees? Y'all on the outside, shut the fuck up. Till you know what's up, shut up.
Intelligence sources that we fed to the...
I hate that I cuss so much. Look at my previous episodes. I don't even blink out like this. I don't use profanity like this. But I'm so pissed about the propaganda and the misdirection and communication. It is so like insulting, man. It's slithering and it's just shady. They know better.
Look at, there's a secret site over here that you should have access to, because we believe something is being developed there in terms of enrichment, or there's advanced centrifuges there, or whatever it was.
And we know that. You ain't in, man.
Whatever it was. And in all those cases, in terms of enrichment, or there's advanced centrifuges, and told them, look it, there's a secret site over here. Inspection protocol was about in the past is Iran defined where to inspect, when to inspect, and how long to inspect. And then when we had information through intelligence sources that we fed to the IAEA and told them, look it, there's a secret site over here that you should have access to, because we believe something is being developed there in terms of...
So funny, if you know that we gave information to the actual inspectors and they didn't really go and do a look over there and look at the stuff. If you you know that that's what happened in the last inspections. Don't you think we gonna look on that? Don't you think we gonna lock that down? We gonna let them, like Trump been dogging out the UN and all them. We ain't gonna let them just decide like to check it off. He gonna make sure there's something in the situation that is an actual check off. It's so funny. He's talking about, oh, we don't know what they're gonna be doing. We don't know where they go, like what they're gonna be manipulating us. They're gonna be telling us. Y'all showing a map right now, showing a map of Bonab, of was it Remshire, of Tehran, of Iraq, Isfana, Nataz or Nentens, and Fadal and Bashir have like nuclear, radioactive, environments of uranium and the possibility of where they would be doing this stuff at. Y'all showing a map of what's up. I'm not saying this is what the military has or the Pentagon actually has, because they know a little bit more detail. This is what they giving us dummies, that they feel like is enough information for y'all to have some kind of understanding of where it's at. So y'all have this, and you acting like we don't know how to monitor that? So stupid.
Enrichment, or there's advanced centrifuges there, or whatever it was. And in all those cases, that intelligence was likely very good. And guess what? Iran said no deal. That's not part of the protocol.
They ain't got that choice now.
So we have to be on the ground. It has to be driven by our and the Mossad's intelligence apparatus. And we go any place we want.
No, that's their country, dude. We'll go anywhere that we want, that we think that is there. Okay? In the deals of, we're not going to just roam around like crazy. If we have no idea where this shit is, we are not going all over Iran for a ghost, a hypothetical. We've been monitoring this. Intelligence, a piece of shit CIA, they got people in there. They got people in Iran feeding them intelligence. How we collect information, how we make sure that we're more accurate than not accurate. We go actually investigate those areas. We're not going to be like in there trying to occupy Iran with soldiers and people trying to look and see, oh, is it here? Oh, it's nothing here. Oh, is it here? Oh, it's nothing here. Oh, it's here? Oh, it's nothing here. Oh, it's here? Nothing here. But hey, we're going to check. We're going to check. No. We're going to go in there with a big, more fine-tuned comb and understanding of what's popping off. We are not going to have people walking around get killed by people like supposed to be getting some gas or supposed to be cutting their grass, but they pulling out bazookas and they pulling out missiles launchers and they pulling out AKs, shooting and killing our soldiers because we out there happy wandering trying to find like nuclear weaponry, and we got soldiers and we got people in there to kind of put us, like have us on TV getting our head cut off like ISIS did. Don't listen to this fucking idiot. He's an idiot.
When we want, for as long as
we got better strategies, better ways of doing it and destroying it and making sure that they don't have uranium and that they're not building more uranium or fusions and everything like that, nuclear bombs and all that stuff. We got better ways to make sure that that don't happen, make sure that it gets destroyed than what this fucking idiot got in mind. And he's not gonna have no balls to tell you he wants soldiers all over Iran. American soldiers all over Iran just walking by people that can't wait to blow their head off. Stupid ass.
We want. And if we can't do that, we don't have verification. And we have to have verification.
How you gonna do that, dude?
This idea that somehow we may be dealing with a different regime and its behavior is something we're going to be able to adjust to and accommodate is an absolute absurdity. This is a diabolical, tyrannical regime. And they are clearly feel the pressure on them from the United States military operations. Just last week, 2 bombing campaigns to get them to this deal, and obviously the economic warfare that the blockade and what Secretary Besson is doing, which is extraordinary. They feel all of that pressure. But believe me, the nature of the regime has not changed, and we have got to be.
And nobody's saying that but you. Nobody's saying that but you. So who gives a shit about their personality and all that other stuff? We got things that they gotta do in order to get any money, get any relief or anything, and to stop us from bombing. We got things that we want them to do. Is locations and certain things that we know that's popping off that we're gonna spend our time right now executing on that. Not your hypotheticals. Not your wanderings. Fuck you. You need to shut up. Go on a rocket chair and watch some Westerns, dog. Shut the fuck up.
What they say and what they do are 2 different things. They cannot be trusted. We have to enforce compliance.
To your point about all that pressure, obviously hindsight is 2020, but do you think President Trump should have ever entered into that ceasefire back in April, or should he have just kept his pedal to the metal, wiped out all their military targets to keep up maximum pressure with this?
He did wipe out the military targets. If they seen any more, they went back in and shot that shit up. He's been doing that ever since. What are you talking about? You talking about anything else that he could have did is hurt the civilian population. He didn't mind doing that if it called for it, but he was gonna make sure, hey, y'all need to come to agreement, otherwise I gotta start hurting the civilians being able to eat, being able to have water, being able to have some kind of economy going on. I'm gonna have to hurt that, and he made sure that unless he really had to do it, he didn't do it until he really had to do it. That's all that was left. This propaganda, this is y'all perception of what's going on. Y'all not listening to him. Y'all not listening to the general. Every single week they came out and gave y'all full report of what they did, what the mission was, what was the purpose of them doing it, what the actual point of it doing. Hey, nope, we're not going to do that because that'll hurt the people and it's not necessary yet. They would say that for the last 3 months. And look at y'all conversation. It's stupid.
Yeah, I definitely feel that is what we should have done. We had 2 weeks to go, 25% of the targets. We really had consigned.
Yeah, you think that because you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. You're not even going to say what was those other targets. What was the other targets? It wasn't military bases. It wasn't military infrastructure. They wasn't missiles. Build we gonna just let them keep building missiles. We're going to let them keep building drones, and we know how to shoot and destroy it, and we see them actually making drones and missiles, and we're not going to shoot that. No, we did. We shot all that stuff, blew up all that stuff. The stuff that they're talking about is things that would destroy the economic purpose. They would not have a way to actually make money to feed the people. Trump said, even if y'all hate this government, we gotta get them they gotta have a percentage of them still an actual economic, civilized environment. If we blow up all the bridges, if we blow up all the fucking oil fields and stuff, then you destroy, how they gonna feed themselves? How they gonna sell? How they gonna be an economic value for China to even do business with? It's ridiculous.
Significant pressure. We could have finished the offensive operation, accomplished the assigned mission, and then began.
What is that assigned mission? The reason why they leave it ambiguous, whereas they never really tell you what they said that he could have finished. The reason why they don't tell you that is because it's boots on the ground and it's soldiers. And they feel, hey, you gotta allow some casualties to happen. Trump don't like it. Trump don't like the 6. I'm telling you, the 7 soldiers that died in that Kuwait base is tragedy for Trump. He's not taking that well. Trust me on that. They're saying, no, you got to be willing to have some casualties. Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Offensive operation to open the Straits of Hormuz, and I think people At the time, we're very concerned about the Straits. A single drone is going to stop the operation being successful. That is completely unfounded. I think now that they've seen us work through a lane there and have a lot of success with it and defeat everything that's come at them. I mean, we haven't seen a fast boat in like 4 weeks because we defeated all the fast boats that came at it, and same thing with the drones. We could have done that operation, and I think in hindsight,
what operation? Military people on the ground. Trust me, you do not want those soldiers deep into Iran trying to... you know how long it would take for them to get to that uranium and dig it up? It would take weeks and months to dig that stuff up. You think that they could keep an area clear from any wild, radical Iranian insurgents coming to that area, them shooting missiles at that area, while we got like fucking like trucks and stuff? Stupid. This is stupid. This is a stupid conversation. They won't say it, but that's what he's talking about, y'all.
People will recognize that's what we should have done and just continued the military.
Should have done what?
Operation, but that's not where we are.
Yeah,
There's no sense
bitch.
looking in the rearview mirror.
We ain't sitting on military people in there.
Diplomatic path. Let's get the strongest possible diplomatic solution to this that we can. This best deal. President Trump knows how to get a good deal. There's been a lot of stuff flying around about what's wrong with the deal, and particularly the negotiating positions. Not all of that has come from Iran. I have friends in the media who I trust, and their sources were impeccable in terms of people in the administration that had some concerns about our negotiating positions. And those things were flying around as well. The administration has absorbed that, certainly. And I think we're on a path here, but we got to be really tough and know who we're dealing with in Iran.
We know who we dealing with, bitch. We know who we dealing with. You a piece of shit old hack that's sitting on the sidelines, in your opinion and your advisory is considered, but we don't give a shit. That's what Trump is doing. He don't like that. He like, oh, you need to take a little bit of my... I know what I'm talking about. We don't give a shit what you talking about. Shut up.
And let's finish this as much as we possibly can using a very strong deal with Iran to get the original, as much of the original objectives achieved here as we can.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if we finally get some clarity of what's in this deal on Friday, so we don't have to speculate on leaks anymore.
It's high speculation, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay, look. I'm blinking out. I know, but look.
And why they are doing it now. A few minutes ago in this meeting, he was talking about how if they didn't make a deal right now...
And this is how they talking today. And I just want y'all to hear this shit. I just walked you through a lot of stuff. This is how they talking today.
There would be a global depression, which speaks to the economic pressure President Trump and his team have been feeling back home, especially with high gas prices. We know why the Iranian...
And again, y'all, what American people should be more worried about is that a piece of shit area like the Strait of Hormuz can make our oil prices, our gas price go up. Why? We not using that oil. It doesn't pay a major factor to us. For some reason, you got California sending buying 80% of their oil and their gas from another country. It's ridiculous, okay? All the oil that we make in our country, we got to send it to refineries outside our country to turn it into gas and give it back to us. Turn it into fertilizer to give it back to us. Why? Because Bush, Obama, Biden put so much regulations on our refineries inside our country that all the oil companies and people that got refineries and oil companies that have a refinery in our country, it's the margins of economic situation is so ridiculous that it's better, it's cheaper for them to pull the oil out of the ground and put it on ships, ship it out to different countries for them to turn it into to gas, for them to turn it into a certain kind of petrol, a certain fertilizer, and bring it back. It's cheaper for them to send it out, turn it into other shit on other refineries, and bring it back to our country and disperse it inside our country. Do you understand that? We're not even using our own refineries to make our own gas. We're not using our own refineries to make fertilizer. We're not making using our own refinery to make diesel. Because of regulations. So decades it's been cheaper for all our oil companies to send our oil outside the country to get treated and bring it back to us. It's stupid shit. That's why we gotta deal with, okay, if Saudi Arabia, if Bahrain, if Iraq, if the UAE, if Iran is not able to send oil to Europe, to Asia, it says that I'm gonna make sure I gotta explain this without blinking out and yelling so much. I'm so pissed about this. Our gas is so high because 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, we got a deal that we made, that we bet on the value of Saudi Arabia and all Middle Eastern countries that got oil and all that. So we put money on them. And we end up having an oil boom. And we always had an oil boom in our country that we didn't really need them. But we gave stability and almost like a security blanket to the world to say, okay, if anything gets if any oil gets disrupted in the world, we'll take the burden of that. Meaning that our country is so strong that we can pay for high oil prices, high gas prices, high fertilizer prices. We'll take that hit to make sure if you're not making no money, that there's money that's going into the coffers of the oil in the energy sector of the world, that it makes prices and the value of oil go up, that you guys get paid big money, double the amount of what the oil is worth, just to compensate you until the value of the situation that may be disruptive go down. So we almost like funding if anything happens. So instead of our government saying, hey, this 2026, we ain't gotta let y'all hurt us because y'all got crazy shit going on in y'all country and we might have to spank y'all in your hand, we ain't gonna take the hit. We're not using your oil. We don't need your oil. We got our own things that we could do to keep our oil. We got deals. We so powerful in the energy with Venezuela, America. We good. But we put a hurt on us ideologically for the European and Asia and all the other stuff. If they don't get shipments from Iran, if they don't get shipments from Iraq, if they don't get shipments from Bahrain, if they don't get shipments from the UAE and oil, we hurt ourselves if we hurt them. Stupid. It's just stupid.
Made this deal. They are about to get access to their big moneymaker, selling oil as soon as Friday. They are looking at a $300 billion reconstruction fund from sources TV.
Under the conditions that they give up, they give up their actual nuclear. They got to get that up first. That they not saying that. So they just saying all this negative stuff because they looking at Axios, and it's Fox News. You are a news organization. You got all these people flying, doing anchors and shit, and reporting on the president and stuff. Where's your field reporters validating if the Axios or the Washington Post or anybody's or Iran media, if what they're saying is accurate, if it's actually 100% the word on the paper, before you report it as factual? He's talking about this as factual news. It's not. This is a perception. This is an opinion. This is narrative that another news organization and apparatus is saying about what the deal is. It's just ridiculous, y'all. Fake news.
And President Trump also explained why it is that he thinks the terms, including some of the stuff that is leaked out, are good.
It's a great deal for a lot of reasons, but number one, by far, 99.9% is they will never have a nuclear weapon, and you can't give Iran a nuclear weapon, and they will never have a nuclear weapon, so that's very, very strong.
And I want y'all to think about this. Just come on, y'all. He's the president. And if you go look at the data, dude, he ran successfully for president 3 times. Never been done, never will be done. Okay? 3 times successfully. He was able to be a real estate mogul. He was able to take risk like crazy, lose $9 billion and rebuild himself where he could die with $26 billion in value, liquid in assets before he dies. And then he became president 2 times when the CIA didn't want him to be president, the FBI didn't want him to be president, the attorney generals all over the country didn't want him to be president, the Republicans didn't want him to be president, and the Democrats didn't want him to be president, multi-billion dollars billionaires didn't want him to be president, like the Warner Brothers, Paramount, Netflix, Lionsgate, Disney didn't want him to be president, and they threw everything that they could for him to not be president. And just the way he moves and his determination and the way that he is and his decision making to listen to certain things, to not listen to certain things, to go against certain narratives, to actually validate narratives, and him to make the decision that he is the president again. Okay, this is just assume when he says, I'm gonna go back.
Nuclear weapon. And
why would he say they cannot have a nuclear weapon? The deal is about 99% of them not having a nuclear weapon. If he's saying that, why would he have a paper, a document, sign a document that kind of shows that he kind of gave them a way to have a nuclear weapon because he kind of didn't restrict them from not having a nuclear weapon or actually going into agreement to make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon, that they can't physically make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon. Why would he go into agreement with that? That's going to make him look like a fool come Friday. Why?
We'll never have a nuclear weapon, so that's very, very strong. It's a very strong deal. Nobody knows what it is, but it's very strong.
And they should have cut it off there because he said, and if they try anything, we'll just drop bombs on their head. That's what he said. If they try anything, we'll destroy everything. That's what he said. But they cut it so they can have their narrative. So they can kind of cut that and just say, oh, there's just this man just rambling. The context of or if they fuck around, you get what I'm saying? They'll find out. They cut that off so they can come back in and say bullshit.
Nobody knows what it is. So if the Iranians have agreed to inspections, we don't know how often, we don't know where, we don't know who would be doing those inspections.
That's irrelevant.
from the president later on today. But there is a sense here at the G7 in France that the president, he's talking about putting Iran in the rear-view mirror, and the leaders here are kind of helping him do that because they're trying to steer the conversation more towards Ukraine.
Fuck Ukraine.
Member of the G7, but Macron has Zelensky here as a specially invited guest, and they're trying to get President Trump more focused on Ukraine. So he is really just trying to put Iran, in his words, in the rearview mirror, get this deal done with on Friday, and move on to the other business of...
Look, y'all, the reason why I say fuck Ukraine, because I want y'all to understand. And this is the bad part about Ukraine, Taiwan, Canada, Mexico. If you own big dog's doorsteps, you better act with some manners around big dog. Meaning, Canada, Mexico got to be on their best behavior when they're around America. We're not going to let them do what they want to do to our country. You on our doorstep. You're going to live and breathe, and you're going to do what we tell you to do. You're going to manage yourself to our best outcome. Because you're on our doorstep, and we'll take over. We'll go to that next level on you. That's an unspoken communication from America to Canada, from America to Mexico. Do you understand that? It's the same thing that we should not get in the middle of if Ukraine, right on the doorstep of Russia, and we putting weapons and stuff inside Russia, and we got other countries putting weapons and stuff inside of Ukraine in order to do whatever we want with Russia, to attack Russia, to destroy Russia at any given moment. We doing insurgent stuff inside of Ukraine. Sooner or later, Russia got to have some self-respect to say, hell no, I'm not going to allow America or any European or Asia, anybody to set up a way to destroy us on our border countries. That's how we are. We're not letting Russia or China or anybody come into Mexico and do whatever they want. We're not letting Russia or China come into Canada and do whatever they want, where we can't have no control if they decide to turn their guns on us. No way. No way. That's the same way that Russia sees Ukraine. That's the same way that China sees Taiwan. They have the right to make sure anybody that can actually turn the guns on them and give them overwhelming problems where it could disrupt and destroy the country. We cannot be the people to protect Taiwan from attacking and doing something that could destroy China. We gotta if China the big dog, we gotta let China manage that. If Russia's the big dog, we gotta let Russia manage that. That's the issue, y'all. So what's good for us, we gotta allow it to be good for them. If we're gonna allow Ukraine to be able to overthrow and destroy Russia, then we gotta allow Mexico and Canada to be able to have the power to destroy America. We got to. Fair is fair. If we pay it off fair, it's ridiculous.
The G7. Back to you.
Yeah, Peter, if they want to get more focused on Ukraine, maybe they could say, hey, I'll help you with the Strait. If that would be something.
Yeah, this is what I wanted people to see. What he's about to say is what this whole episode's about, because he's a fucking hack.
That they would help each other out on. Peter, what do we know for sure, if anything, that Iran gets up front? It looks like they get immediately the ability.
Until you read the document, until you can put the document on the screen as you read it, you don't know. You have no idea. It's all speculation, so it's not worth talking about. It's all fake news.
To sell crude oil and petrochemicals. That's what the readout.
They sell oil. They sell oil. Like, okay, like, what we gonna stop them from selling oil? That's how they feed their people. We gotta watch if they buy missiles or if they buy nuclear uranium from Russia, China, and stuff like that. But we can't stop them from like doing the only way that they feed their people. It's ridiculous. We can manage it. We can decide, hey, y'all crossing the line, we're gonna blow everything up. We can do that, but we ain't gonna stop them from actually functioning.
From the leaked document, if it's accurate, what do you know they get up front?
That's a big one, Brian. Basically, the access to the global economy, and that's already to the second step of a two-step verification process that the vice president, who's been the main pitchman for this deal, has been saying. The first step, say that you won't pursue a nuclear weapon. The second step, get access to the global economy. And President Trump now is talking about how there's so much oil already starting to flow through the Strait of Hormuz that they can actually go back to Russia, who they unsanctioned, because basically they need...
Where did he say that at? I'm not saying he hasn't said it about him like putting sanctions back on Russia, but it's ridiculous. Like they having a conversation about something that this is all hypotheticals, y'all. And some of the stuff that they saying, I don't see a problem with it. I don't see a problem with letting them sell, or like, okay, the people that come into the Strait of Hormuz, for them to fill up the actual ships and then let them send them on their way and all the other stuff. If they're not doing any tolls, or if they're not like doing anything to offload nuclear reactors and all that stuff like that, or equipment for nuclear or armament or drones and all that stuff like that, and we observing that stuff like that and monitoring, let them sell their oil. But we're not even saying they could do that until they sign the deal and then they structure themselves to make sure that they not putting tolls and they not actually finding people to use the Strait of Hormuz because it's international waters. As long as they're not going against what we tell them to do, you can sell oil. But they don't even know that this is what's in the document. He said, oh, it's just like what you said, Brian. No, Brian don't know what the fuck you talking about. You don't know what the fuck you talking about until you read the document.
Oil flowing into the global market supply.
I'm gonna wrap this up, y'all. I'm gonna wrap this up.
Good. On Russia, because there's so much. But that and that means that the Iranians are going to really be cashing in, because that's just the way that it works. Well, they control it.
Yep. We want them to be a prosperous nation, dude. We just don't want them to be a terrorist nation. So no more like dealing with a lot of the resurgence and all the crazy stuff and doing all the missiles and bombs and the drones and stuff. We're going to keep wiping their ass out, and we'll wipe their economic situation out if they keep playing around. That's the conversation. That's what's in the document. Okay, that's what's in the document, but you can't know that until you read the document. I'm only been opposition to what they're saying because this is what Trump is saying. This is what Vance is saying. This is what the actual people that's doing the deal is saying. They're talking about propaganda.
They wanted this. They are going to get it. And President Trump thinks that, and he has said for a long time, since the very beginning of this, and when we started to watch oil prices and gas prices tick up slowly, inch by inch at home, he says that the prices are going to come down quickly. Now we wait to see how quickly.
Well, Peter, to that point about sanctions, from my understanding that's part of the deal, all the sanctions and all of the waivers are removed. So that means all the abuses that's happening, because there's still going to be executions of the Iranian people that want to protest, right?
Look, fuck the Iranian people. They got an option to actually take over the government and do whatever it takes, put their life on the line like we did. We did this in the Civil War. We did this in the Revolutionary War. We were willing to destroy all men and kill as many people as possible and lose as many people as possible in order to fight for our freedom. That's what Iran has to do. Iran, all the people in Iran, all the men in Iran, they got to overthrow their government. If they decide to be bitches, they got to take it. They got to take the hangings. They got to take the lynchings. That's the way of doing business unless you decide to fight for freedom, to give up your life for freedom. We are blessed that we have great men, great people before us that was willing to do that for the freedoms we have right now. We are blessed. If Iran people are too pussy to do that, that's their problem. We're not there to put soldiers on the ground for their freedoms. We're not there to keep giving weapons to Kurds to pass over to the civilians or try to drop weapons into the situation and give it to the citizens, and they all pussy and they can't get it and they can't. Look, this is stupid. We're not talking about the freedoms of Iran. That's their problem. This is stupid. Don't make a statement of absolution to what's in the document until you can put the document on the screen and say, this is what it actually say, because we all have the document here. Y'all full of shit.
So that means all the abuses that's happening, because there's still going to be executions of the Iranian people that want to protest. Right? The sanctions because of that, those are going to be removed as well. All of them are gone.
We keep those sanctions on. We keep it all sanctions on until they do what we tell them to do. That what Trump wants to be done for this nuclear stuff and all the other stuff. Until that's get done, they hit, dude. They get no economic situation. And nobody just releasing like all the sanctions, and we don't have no way to persuade them to not turn over to nuclear. You dummies. Now, I love Lawrence, but this is stupid. You taking the propaganda of Brian. Because y'all trying to look, this is what my problem is with podcasters, with news organizations and stuff. Y'all need a that's bullshit person on the panel. Y'all could be keeping it fair and balanced. We got the opinion of the conservative. We got the opinion of the liberals. We got the opinion of the Republicans. We got the opinion of the Democrats. We try to keep it fair and balanced. We trying to gentile. We got a feminine approach here. We got a passive approach. And we got a dominant approach. Y'all need a person to say, all y'all full of shit. Because of this. You're full of shit, and y'all got talking points. Stop the talking points. Let's go to common sense, what makes sense, what's actually the only possibility, most likely. This is stupid.
And Lawrence, that's a really interesting point, because remember at the beginning of Epic Fury, when there was that first weekend of shock and awe, and the supreme leader was killed in a bombing strike with the whole top rings of Iranian leadership, the big thing that was driving President Trump at the time was the execution of these people who were protesting, and we still don't have a firm number on how many there were, because it's so hard to get information out of there. They haven't had the internet. President Trump sent Starlinks in. They apparently were trying to send weapons into different groups. He was telling them to take their country back. That never happened in the last couple of months. And so President Trump and his team have been faced with the reality that there's not going to be some big uprising from folks inside Iran to take their country back like he said he wanted at the beginning of this. And so he's got to deal with who is in charge. And that is who we're going to see here in Europe on Friday.
All right. Well, the president he set a presser this afternoon, I think at 4, and then y'all have a dinner, or he has a dinner tonight, and then heading back to the United States. Thank you so much, Peter. Great to see you. All right, Alex Gray served as the chief of staff to the National Security Council during President Trump's first term, and he joins us now. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. What do you think about this deal?
He can't tell you what he thinks about the deal. He hasn't. I want you guys to understand, they're talking about a hypothetical deal possibility of what the deal might be from Iran, talking about some of the upside that they see in the deal. They're not talking about what they actually got to be bullied to do, and what they agreeing to be bullied to do, and what they actually submitting and on their knees like bitches that they gonna do to get the outcome. They're not telling you about that. They're just saying, hey, and in this deal, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get this. You're gonna get that under this condition, bitch. That's what the deal says. But they're not talking about that. And they're not communicating what's in the actual document. So you got Iranian news and Iranian propagandist communicators communicating the hypotheticals of what the deal was in the deal. You got Axios and Wall Street Journal talking about what they think is in the deal from some leaks that they said that's from what they see on the document and all the other stuff. This is not what the document says. This is people's perception of what's in the document. Their opinion of what's in the document. It's not what the document says. So when they ask, what do you think about this document? This piece of shit person right here can't even tell you what it is because he don't know what's in the document and he can't hold the document up. He can't PDF that bitch to Fox News to tell you, okay, this is what I think it says and this is what I think the problem is here. This is all opinions, y'all. This is all speculation, y'all. This is all anger because they're not able to see the document.
Well, look, we're figuring out the details, obviously, and they're conflicting reports. But I think the key thing that I would focus on is that if President Trump looks at this a couple weeks from now and the Iranians behave exactly the way they have behaved for 47 years, he has one card to play above all else. That is the U.S. military's adjacency to Iran in the region, the forward deployed forces of Central Command, the additional U.S. forces in Europe, and the president can always, and I think this is so important for people who are skeptical of this deal, the United States does not have to continue to accept Iranian misbehavior, and we can continue to bring force to bear. As the president just said in that meeting with the president of Egypt, he can always restart American kinetic military action. And so anyone who's concerned about this deal, I think we have to trust that the president will look at the intelligence and be willing to use military force if necessary.
Okay, Alex Gray. You're making a little sense. There's some butt to this. There's some bullshit that you about to play to the narrative of the people that's on the panel. But so far, I'm gonna give it to you.
To prevent the Iranians from doing exactly what they've done in the past.
And he ain't gonna wait no couple weeks, okay? If they not on what he want in the document, wordy, we got a problem.
You know, Alex, I do find it peculiar because we know the president, we know where he stands on a lot of these issues. And as questions are posed about some of the leaks of the deal, which are from people that I trust, honestly, just to be...
Well, then that means you're a fucking hack. And that means your people don't have credibility. So let's see what's in the document.
Candid. The president immediately says...
And he's talking about General Keane and stuff. These are hacks. Brian Kilmeade's a fucking hack. And whoever the other people, they hacks. Steve Bannon's a fucking hack. Tucker Carlson a hack. Don't put no trust in none of these. The bad part about it is people are so jealous of Trump for legacy reasons, and I don't know, it's just crazy. They hate that he got this much control over the Republican Party, so they got to weaken the narrative of him because obviously people are like her, and the worst people that have your history and have your life into the hands of is normal, everyday people. That's the worst. That's the worst. You get what I'm saying? It's the worst. Sometimes it works out. Most of the times it don't. Okay? So when you're getting judged by your peers, horrible situation. Horrible situation, okay? So whoever you saying that got credibility, I don't give a shit. You ain't got no credibility so far. In this discussion right now, I just communicated why the viewers should not give you credibility.
Way that's a part of the deal. So there seems to be some miscommunication on what's in the copy right now and what the president's red lines are.
From what? From what reporting? From what reporting? All we hear is you guys saying negative stuff. Every time you play clips of JD Vance, he debunks what y'all talking about. He says the total opposite of what y'all talking about. Every time you play clips of Trump, the two people that should know what the fuck is in the document, they debunk everything y'all said. Y'all act like they going along with a document that's got totally opposite of what they're saying to you guys. It's ridiculous.
Lawrence, I think there's a bit of an issue where, this is a real-time moving target, and we're dealing with the Iranian regime that, and this has been...
Don't talk about the Iranian regime. Talk about your own press. American press, American commentaries, American news anchors, American advisors, America commentaries or analysts of the specific situation. Talk about American people painting a narrative against their own government negotiation.
Problem for not just in the last couple of months, but it's been a problem for a long time, particularly since the U.S. and Israel started eliminating big chunks of the Iranian leadership. We're talking to one group of Iranian leaders, and they're not always being consistent with what another group is saying. And the divisions within the regime are very real. And so I think that some of these conversations that are getting reflected back into global media are probably bits and pieces of conversations that may not reflect the totality of the American position, the totality of the Iranian position. I think what I would just go back to is that President Trump looked at the situation. The blockade has been enormously effective. The blockade showed that American naval power can bring a country to its knees. And the president made the decision that if he needs to reimpose that blockade, if he needs to bring military force back, it will be effective again. But for the time being, I think he's concluded that he can get something that's acceptable through the diplomatic path.
Yeah, Alex, the problem is, by the deal that is framed out, it doesn't look like Iran's been...
What deal? You don't have the deal. You don't know what the deal is. You are taking you're taking propaganda, you're taking perceptions, you're taking people like rhetoric that don't like him, that don't like Iran, that want us to go on their boots on the ground and destroy and kill every single government official, and then it's just stupid. We already know why the negative press is there. So it has no credibility because it's biased.
Brought to its knees. So that's the problem. Even if we have to go back and finish the job, at this moment, it seems like Iran got a lot out of it that many people weren't expecting.
That's not true. And you can't even say that because it has no credibility to it. None. That's your rhetoric. That's how you feel.
So that's going to be...
People, and this is what I'm saying. You can't listen to a conversation like this and all the stuff that I showed you guys and I played you guys for the last 2 hours and 10 minutes. You can't watch this and give them credibility back. Once you lose it, it's done. It's done. Candace Owens talk about, it was another shooter. The guy that they said is shooter, he's not the shooter. Israel is behind the shooting, and now she's going to, Israel put on a actual microphone, an explosion inside of a microphone. I'm not saying none of that stuff ain't true. I'm just saying you got no credibility if you don't know what's really happening and you don't have proof of what really happened. You can't state it as a fact. You can't. And if you're going to speculate, you better speculate fucking accurate that you don't have to change position so many times. People, y'all lose credibility. Ben Shapiro was always a hack, always a shady person. So when Candace Owens worked for Ben Shapiro, she was shady. All she cared about was success and money and the grandeur, and she was a Zionist herself. So now she's opposition of Jewish people, opposition of Israel, because of whatever the situation that happened with her, or her husband is a Roman Catholic, and he's like, hey, when he married her, he's like, hey, look, I don't know why you all raising the praise of Israel so much. Israel's a shitty place. And now she got to take that narrative because the teachings of Roman Catholic shows that there's an opposition to Israel. This is ridiculous, y'all. It's ridiculous. And so now these people don't got no credibility. Tucker Carlson got no credibility. He has no credibility. He had no credibility before he started to accept and praise and tried to find some economic way to make his company grow off of the backs of the movement of Trump. He had no credibility, okay? So this is just ridiculous now. So when people lose their credibility, they just lose it, y'all. They lose it. Everything I'm saying right now, as the day plays out, you're going to find that I'm right.
The issue, and maybe the president wasn't even expecting.
But at the least, I'm actually leaving some room to say, hey, I don't know what's in the document. I don't know. And until this comes out, the opinion that we give has to stay neutral. It has to stay neutral because we don't know what's in the document. All I'm saying is this propaganda. I'm going from what Trump's saying. I'm going from what Vance is saying because they're looking at the document. They're reading the document. They're actually making a movement of the document. They kind of know what's in the document. Not kind of, I'm sorry. They know what's in the document. Why? Because they're reading it. They're doing meetings on it. They're confirming it. They have eyes on it. So I'm not going to sit here and take the credibility of what they're saying in the document to pundits, to people that make a fortune bloviating and bitching and moaning about issues because that's how they make their money. That's what their value is, pontificating, not doing, not being the end results, not having outcome. These people have been making millions of dollars talking about liberals and what they doing to the country, all that stuff, but they making millions of dollars bitching and moaning about it, but not actually being a physical outcome against what they're doing. So they're part of the problem. I'm gonna let this wrap up, y'all.
He's got enough plates in the air that he can't be into every detail.
Yes, he can.
So I just wonder if the vice president, who was against this, by all reports, was against the conflict to begin with, maybe he wasn't the right person to bring this conflict to an end. We'll find out.
That's a hell of a look. And he gonna say credibility. Now Trump gotta keep Fox News on his side because he knows that's probably his only outlet most of the time to communicate with the people, or to have something out there with the people for them to kind of spurts all over the place and say, you hear what Trump said? And at least his enemies play clips from Fox News. Okay, so he got to utilize them as much as he can, but he just crossed the line. He just lost all credibility. That's what I'm talking about. So look, that's why he's a hack. I hope you guys remember that the guy who just got through last speaking, the far right, and the purple tie, he's Brian Kilmeade. He's the hack. But he's is a poster child for all the hacks of the media and how they think and how they analyze and how they communicate to y'all and how they know that you guys are not the smartest tools in the shed and you're not going to vet these people. You're going to just come home and you're going to hope that they're telling you the truth. They're not. That's why I'm here. So I'm hoping y'all stop it. Stop letting these people control the narrative, okay? Okay, look, I'm done. I've been yelling for the last 2 hours. I gotta stop. Check you guys out. I'll see you in the next one. Please like, share, subscribe. My name is Daris D. McKinney. I'm your host of Individual Perspective Podcast, Daris D. McKinney. I'll check you guys out.